welcome to Introduction to FND or Field Network Director. I'm Maz Ayub, I'm the TME for the product. In this video, we'll take a look at what is FND, the verticals it plays in, supported devices, the FND's architecture, licensing models that are available, how to create an estimate for FND in the CCW tool, the FND's packaging options, where to download FND from, the differences between the packaging options, FND's deployment options, resource requirements, and the modes of operation. There's a secure and a non-secure mode. We'll take a look at the production topology with the head end and the components of the head end. We'll look at what ports need to be opened at the DMZ. Brief look at the FND HA architecture, the scale that is supported by FND today. We'll also share some tidbits about first-time usage. And then we'll take a quick look at the FND UI. We'll just go through the menu items. I'll introduce you to where to find the information you may be looking for, but it won't be a detailed feature description. We'll cover that as part of the ongoing videos that will be coming. And that's the last item of there. You see that we have a TME YouTube channel that is dedicated to videos like this, so subscribe and keep up to date with whatever videos we have coming your way. So what is FND? FND is the on-prem NMS for the IoT field area network. While FND has many features, one of the key ones is the ability to do zero-touch deployment at scale. FND also provides real-time infrastructure monitoring, enterprise-class visibility, geolocation using Google Maps, full device lifecycle management support all the way from onboarding, configuration, firmware management, monitoring, troubleshooting. FND also has application management for iOS devices, ability to do multi-tenancy, and has full RBAC support. FND also offers APIs for third-party integration, and FND is tried and tested in the field. We have several large utilities that are using FND to manage endpoints in their network, and we have over 12 million devices being managed today. FND started off as CGNMS about 7 to 8 years ago as part of the utilities vertical, but it has grown into other verticals such as transportation, smart cities, and oil and gas. FND supports a large number of devices. We have lots of routers and gateways, CGR1K family. This is the CGR 1120 and CGR 1240. The IR800 family, the 807, 809, 829, IR1100, ESR 5900, C819. This is a product that's been discontinued, I believe. The IXM in standalone mode and in two-box solution mode, where the IXM is connected via the IR800, LNG N2450 border router. This is part of the FND 4.6, and IC3000. On the endpoints, FND supports the CG mesh, which is mostly the smart meters, the IR500 family, IR509, 510, 529, 530, Itron, Riva meters, ACPACT Chem, any CGEs, LNGs N550 and R650, both new to FND 4.6. On the third-party integration, we have Coda wireless devices that are supported using FND, the OBUs and the RSUs. We have integration going on with CXR, another router provider. SIMCON street lighting controllers are officially supported. And the head-end routers, we have ASR 1000, ISR 4K, ISR 3900, and the CSR 1K. Let's take a look at FND's high-level architecture. There's a couple of ways to access the application. One is through the UI and the other one is through the northbound interface. The application has a few modules that interact with devices using the protocols shown in green. The iOS app management module, previously known as Fog Director, is now integrated as part of FND's Postgres distribution. The inventory management, firmware management, and configuration management are all common to all the distributions, and so are the features and functions that are shown on the right hand side in orange. Data is persisted in the database, whether it's Oracle, Postgres, or a combination of the Oracle with influx or Postgres with influx. FND's pricing models or licensing models. These are the options available for licensing the product today. Subscription has 1, 3, and 5 year offerings with a 7 or 10 year offering in the works. Perpetual is based on the classic licensing model. Not all PIDs are available under this model. And then MSLA is something new that was introduced in FND 4.6. It is a pay-as-you-use model. FND's perpetual PIDs and subscription PIDs model. In the system, you'll find that the IoT FND software is actually available only under the perpetual PIDs option. So if you're trying to quote FND for a customer, you have to come here to the IoT FND SKU, and under that you'll find the software options here. You won't find it under the subscription model. And these are all the PIDs that you see in the system that are under either perpetual or subscription. As you can see, one of the commonly most asked questions is, where is the IR1100 in the perpetual table? It is not there. IR1100 is available only in the subscription model. MSLA PID structure. These are the SKUs that are available for MSLA, and as you can see, there's no count associated with these PIDs. These are going to be billed based upon usage. Creating an estimate in the CCW tool. This is where I was saying that if you want to quote customer for FND, including the device licenses, you have to select the FND software under the IoT FND options. It is only available there. So you select the FND software under the IoT FND SKU, and then if you wanted subscription licenses, you'd actually have to come and look under IoT FND software-K9 and then use the options over there to select the subscription licenses. FND packaging options. So if you remember, in the perpetual license PIDs, there were 3 options for the IoT FND software. One is the IoT FND K9, the other is the VK9, and then the VPI K9. So let's look at the differences between all these PIDs. The VK9, which is also the bare metal ISO file, contains just the RPM installation files. So if you were to download the ISO file from CCO and expand it, you will find that inside it, it contains just the installation files for all the different modules. So you've got the CGNMS software, you've got the Influx database scripts, you've got the Oracle scripts, you've got the software security module tools, and the TPS software. Now the Oracle and the Influx, these are database scripts. These are not the actual database software. So the assumption is that the customer already has Influx or Oracle, and these are just the helper scripts that we provide as part of the ISO. So coming back to the packaging options, if you look, and we'll go row by row. Firstly, let me describe the columns. The first column is the bare metal option. The VK9 is the one which comes with the Oracle database, and the VPI K9 is the one that comes with the Postgres database. So in the bare metal ISO file, you're required to do all the installation yourself manually. And in the V and VPI K9, they are VMs which come pre-installed and pre-configured. So as a user, all they have to do is deploy the VM, assign it an IP address, and everything should be accessible. FND should be launched automatically, and you should be able to access the application via the browser. So the bare metal does not contain any of the IOX app management software. The Oracle version, which is the VK9, does not contain the IOX app management application also. The only place that has the IOX app management software currently is under the VPI PID. The bare metal ISO, which is basically the RPM installation files, that supports all device types. And the VK9 also supports all device types. The VPI does not support mesh. It does not support any of the endpoints. And then lastly, the ISO or the bare metal installation typically deployed with Oracle officially supports the HA functionality. So this is where bare metal boxes have application HA and database HA, and this is officially tested in-house and is supported. The Oracle OVA can support HA. So you'll have two OVAs. You'll have application HA, and then you can also have database HA. The VPI, which is the Postgres bundle, does not support HA today. Where do you download FND from on CCO? So if you follow this link, it'll open up the page to download the software. It'll take you to this page where you see two options to download. One is the bare metal installation and one is the virtual machine option. So the bare metal option contains the ISO files. If you recall from previous slides before, we have just the installation files as part of this. And in the OVA, it contains the full Oracle database or the Postgres database, whichever option you've selected. It contains the full OVA. All the user has to do is deploy that OVA. So if I go to the website, if you look here under bare metal, you'll see the ISO file, and the ISO file is the one that contains the installation files. So if we go back here and look under the virtual machine option, you've got three files here. One is the Oracle database version OVA, which is about 11 gigs. The Postgres version is about 6 gigs. And then there's an upgrade script associated with the Postgres. In case you're planning to upgrade, you can use the upgrade script and apply the instructions from the user guide. FND deployment options. So here you can see a variety of ways that FND can be deployed. The first, bare metal, shows that FND is running on a bare metal box. The database is not on that same box, it is external. So the database may be running on another bare metal box, or it could be on a VM. The second VM1 column shows that FND application is running on VMware and the database is external to it. So the database could be running on another bare metal box, or it could be running on another VM, but it's not together with the FND application. The VM2 column shows that FND and Oracle are running together inside the same VM. This is one of the VMs that you would download from the software download page. And then the FND with Postgres option, both the FND and Fog Director are running as Docker containers inside this VM, which contains the Postgres and Influx database. And then FND is also available in the cloud. Cisco does not offer this, but there are customers that have taken FND to AWS, for example, and they're hosting it in the cloud. FND resource requirements. This table is showing routers with endpoints. It also is showing the database is separate to the application server, so the numbers are taken out of the bare metal box deployment. As you can see, if you scale up, the number of CPU, memory, and disk requirements change accordingly. So if you were deploying FND in a VM environment, you typically would not want to run large scale in a VM where both database and the app server are running inside one VM. Typically you would separate them and you'd follow the same guidelines for large scale. I would say anything above 1 million, you would start separating the database and the application server if you're running in VMs. FND resource requirements for a router's only deployment. The database and app server, again, are running on two different hosts. Scale shown is 10,000 routers or 30,000 IXM devices. The FND application is not limited to these numbers. FND can definitely scale higher. You'll just have to provision more memory, CPU, and disk as you scale up. FND mode options. By default, FND runs in a secure mode, but there is a way to configure FND to run in an easy mode. In the normal mode, it's using HTTPS to communicate with the devices, but in the easy mode, it uses HTTP. So in the normal mode, all devices are supported. Typically, you're requiring a head end and tunnels, and basically use certificate-based mutual authentication with the FND. So there is a PKI infrastructure involved, or certificates from, let's say, the SUDI certificates that are burnt onto the router. FND supports using SUDI certificates for establishing the secure communication, or you can have certificates provided by the customer's PKI, or use a third-party PKI provider. And whereas in the easy mode, you don't need any of that. You can bypass all of the secure requirements. Typically, you use the secure mode in the normal production environment, whereas the easy mode is more for a demo lab type environment where you want to do a quick setup of FND and show the management of the devices without having to set up all the secure infrastructure. Let's take a brief look at a typical deployment where you have a DMZ, you have FND sitting in the private network, and then you have a router that's sitting out there in the public network. So there's several ways the router will initiate the communication with the DMZ. It could either be that the router is bootstrapped at the staging site before it's shipped with some basic configuration that allows it to initiate this SCEP process, or the router may have zero configuration and it'll choose to do PNP and get redirected by the Cisco cloud server to the TPS to begin downloading its bootstrap configuration. So assuming the router has its bootstrap configuration, it will perform SCEP to acquire a certificate. Once the SCEP process is completed, it will then initiate a tunnel request via the TPS. So once the TPS provisions the tunnels on the router, the tunnels will be between the Cisco iOS router shown here and the head-end router that is sitting in the DMZ with one leg in the private network. So once this tunnel is established, basically the router has direct communication with FND now, and it can go and register and download its golden config that way. There are several ports that need to be opened in the firewall to allow certain of these functions to occur. So this table here basically describes the ports and the purpose for opening these ports. FND high availability. Typically, when you talk about high availability with FND, you're talking about app server HA and database HA. The app server HA is built into the application. It uses JBoss clustering. So they have to be sitting in the same subnet, and JBoss automatically discovers these as a member of the cluster. And then HA on the database side is provided by Oracle. So there are Oracle tools available for configuring HA. There are other levels of HA, which is load balancing between the app servers. There's a head and router HA by using primary and secondary tunnels. So there's a bunch of configuration that allows you to have a lot of different types of HA. Typically our FND document, when it refers to HA, it's talking usually about the app server and the database server. Scale numbers with FND. The OVA with Postgres and Influx has been tested for 10,000 routers or 30,000 IXMs. The bare metal box with Oracle has been tested for 6 million or 6,000 routers. And then there is a bare metal box with Oracle and Influx configuration that has been scale tested to 11 million and 11,000 routers. Now, these are not the limits of FND. These are just the numbers that were tested. FND can scale higher than these. Some quick tidbits about first-time usage or in general. So the OVAs that we provide, the default login to the VM is root Cisco 123. You'll be forced to change the password from FND 4.6 VM onwards. And the default login to the GUI is root 123. The application will force you to change the password. So please save these passwords in a safe place. The Oracle database password is CGMS123. Typically this is required when you're performing a upgrade and a DB migrate after that. The CGMS key store files that are provided in the OVA. In the Postgres OVA, the password to the key store file is public 123 bang or public 123 exclamation. And for the Oracle one, it's just simply key store. the CGMS key store file will automatically install the SUDI certificate if it is not part of it. So you don't need to do the manual process of importing the SUDI certificates into the key store. It's done by FND by default. Let's take a very quick tour of FND. This is not going to be a detailed demo, as there'll be additional videos posted to focus on certain functions and features. The dashboard is a landing page. As you log into the application, it's a very quick way to see the health of your network. There are a bunch of configurable and customizable dashlets here, so the user can set the page according to what he or she may want to see. The devices page is showing a list of all the devices that are managed in FND. So here you have the field area devices, you've got the head-end routers, you've got the FND and database servers, and some assets. This is where most of the onboarding and device lifecycle management happens. So you can add devices, delete devices, change device properties, etc., etc. From this menu here, you can see devices on the Google Maps as well. In order for the Google Maps to be activated, you have to send an email to ask-fnd-pm@cisco.com and include either the IP address or the FQDN of your FND. As you drill down into any of the devices, you'll be able to see a lot of statistics that the FND collects from the device as the device is being monitored. So there is a few troubleshooting functions that are available, such as ping and trace route. You can perform manual metric refresh and perform other functions through the buttons that are provided as you select the device type. On the operation side, events menu just shows all the events that are generated in the system, either from the network or by the FND application. Issues are an indication that something needs user intervention or awareness. So such as a gateway going down is an issue that somebody needs to look into. So once the device, let's say, comes back up, this is automatically closed out. There is a way to manually acknowledge these and close them out if you wanted to. Device configuration. This is where the device acquires its configuration. Again, this is a group-based operation, so any devices that belong to this particular group will acquire the configuration that is present in this template. Same thing is there for the firmware. It is a group-based concept. Any devices that belong to this particular group, for example, I can upload the image to this group and all the devices will get it. There is a function to push files to devices as well through FND. So should you want to push a script or some other file to the router, this is the way you do it. Rules is a way of creating additional alerts in the system based on some construct that you come up with. Again, this is all described in the user guide, but the rule allows you to generate events or alerts or labels based on some condition being met. So let's say if the RSSI falls below a certain threshold and you want to create an event or add a label, basically you put the construct in there, you enable these checkboxes, and you enable this rule. And as the conditions are met from devices reporting statistics in the network, this will perform the appropriate actions. Tunnel provisioning. This is also another place where devices will acquire their tunnel related configuration or the bootstrap related configuration. And FND provides a bunch of administrative functions all the way from setting your password policies to setting the logging levels. So there's a lot of functions available here. We'll go into details of all these functions in perhaps another video. This was just meant to show you a very quick view of what the menu items are available in the application. Thank you for viewing this presentation. I hope you found it useful. Please subscribe to the TME YouTube channel for more upcoming videos. I'd love to also hear from you, so please provide me your comments and requests for any new content that you'd like to see. Once again, thank you, and until next time, stay safe. Thanks.